What's up, everybody? It's Matt Johnson. We are back with the latest episode of Real Estate Uncensored. This is the place where you learn how to reach people online, build influence, and attract more ideal clients. And we have a phenomenal guest here with us today, Jackie Jackson, real estate coach, investor. We're going to talk about 5 hidden, super secret, little known, overlooked ways to reach motivated sellers. And so we've got a bunch of stuff to talk about today. We have Gene, the evil bald ninja, is here as always because it is a Friday live episode. Gene, what's up today to you?
What's up, gang?
And then Greg McDaniel, my illustrious colleague, seated firmly in the co-pilot seat where he so belongs. Greg, what's up today?
So belong, and I will never vacate my seat. I don't care how much you try to sabotage me and undermine me and just make my life a living hell. I will not concede to you, Johnson. I will not be living to your tyranny neither. Oh, no.
I assume that you've worn a butt print in that chair so deep that no other human being can safely occupy it.
I literally have. There's literally butt divots in there. Anyways, but it's going to be a great show, guys. Jackie is just legit. Super smart. I was learning right before the pre-show, and I'm like, all right. I like this person. This girl's got it.
And if there's anybody that's more outrageously dressed than you are, Greg, which is very rare on this show, but for those of you who are listening to this iTunes broadcast later, Jackie has a hoodie full-on made of Benjamins, $100 bills. That's right, and earrings with dollar signs on them. So first of all, Jackie, how are you today?
I am super, super, super amazing. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm like geeked up, excited. You gentlemen are just absolutely amazing. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, we're really excited. Ever since you and I first connected, I've been looking forward to this episode because I know it'll be a good time. But I want to dig into before we get into all of your fun background stuff and we start throwing around some tips to reach motivated sellers. Give me an idea, because you come from more of the investing world, and we dip into that from time to time here on the show, especially since Greg is getting into more of it. But giving you an idea of where your head is at right now. A lot of agents are freaking out, not sure what to do with this environment, but I have a feeling that you're not at all that way. So give us an idea of kind of what you're thinking and what you're looking forward to in this market right now.
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, I am not a licensed real estate agent, right? So I am a full-time real estate investor. And I always preface the conversation by saying that. So as a professional real estate investor, my fiduciary responsibility is to protect my interests in the deal at all times, right? So I operate as a principal in the transaction. And forecasting and just looking at the market right now, with the current operational environment and the shift that's happening in the air, Matt, let me tell you, there is a wealth transference on the cusp of we're all breaking through it right now. And if you are positioned in the right place at the right time, there are new millionaires that's going to be created in this season. So what do I mean by that? Whenever there is a shift in the market, there's an opportunity that is unprecedented. And right now, better than ever before, people need money, lots of it. People need security, lots of it, right? And people still need somewhere to live. Now, it's not like those elements were not priority in the past before the shift happened, but there's a new heightened awareness. So real estate investors like myself are poised and positioned to actually provide valuable services in the marketplace that can satisfy those needs, both on the seller, the motivated seller side, as well as on the cash buyer side, and through providing incredible opportunities for other cash buyers right now too.
And just out of curiosity, I don't want to get us too far off track, but I'm curious, the people that you feel like are in position to be the new millionaires, the ones that are looking at this downturn and going, finally, like I've been waiting for this to happen so that I can get out there and buy. What were they doing a year ago, 2 years ago, that puts them in such a great position now?
Well, they were actually actively selling because 2 years ago or 5 years ago, even up to 12 years ago, right? So real estate market cycles, just like any other industry, is cyclical. Okay. So we were on a really long stretch of acceleration, right? So people were receiving equity. We were rebuilding from the real estate bubble, and prices, values were increasing. So if you had property at that time, you were either successfully cash flowing it, or you made a decision like, I am going to cash out now while values are high, and I'm going to sit on this money and wait until the shift happens again so I can be cash heavy and be able to position myself to buy properties, pennies on the dollar, using cash, because cash is always king. Next to king is always a queen, and that's credit. But credit can also be manipulated as well as withdrawn, because if lenders are not lending, and if you can't qualify for credit, if you had some past credit history issues or in your history, then perhaps that may position you not be able to qualify right now. But if you have cash, you have negotiating power. And if you don't have cash, then you need creative real estate investing strategies that can help you be able to secure properties, control properties without actually owning it or having to use any of your actual cash.
Mm-hmm. And Greg is playing here with the new StreamYard app that we're on. He's putting all sorts of graphics and things like that up. So if you're listening to this later and Greg is especially quiet on this episode, is because he's back there just putting things up on the screen. But Greg, I mean, you know what this is like, because you've been through, like, you were in the real estate business when the last crash hit, and of course your dad's been through 40 years worth of market cycles as both an agent and an investor. So is there so do you feel like you were, like, we've been sounding, the alarm kind of on the podcast starting probably over 2 years ago, that like, hey, if you're an agent, like, now is the time to get in and start buying if you haven't already. And I don't know how many people listen to that, because most agents never end up buying their own property they're selling. But Greg, you've been through this before. So anything that you want to say about kind of where your head's at and where agents' heads should be at right now?
Just some of the stuff that I've seen, I've seen the industry, there's been that telltale sign writing on the walls. If you've been in the business long enough, you're like, this cannot continue to go up. There has to be a flattening and a downturn at some point. What's it going to look like? I don't know. Apparently it looks like COVID-19. And I'm wondering how this is going to take place. And so I've been kind of working my way into the strategic, investment side. And it's for a real estate agent, it's a twist on your brain, because you're used to having conversations one way, then you have to pivot and have a conversation in a completely different manner, and relearn scripts, relearn systems, relearn everything. But I mean, I think, like what Jackie was saying, there is going to be a lot of people making a lot of money, in this downturn and where this market's going to be going. And if you can start just looking ahead, like Gretzky always said, he's not, skating to where the puck is, he's going where the puck's going to be. So kind of start doing your research. Go follow Jackie, guys, she has a great show, the Real Estate Cash Flow Expert. You can go learn kind of how to do some cash flow, and just really get ahead of this thing, because if you don't, I mean, you're going to be ones left behind. I mean, there's just too much opportunity right now and by the way, Jackie, attest this with me. If there's a deal, there's always money, right?
Absolutely. And I always tell my clients or my mentees or anyone who's struggling with wrapping their mind around them not actually having the money in their bank account. They're always concerned, where's the money going to come from? And I'm like, there is no shortage. Just because you don't have some right now doesn't mean that there's a shortage in the world of it. Okay. So there is plenty of resources, financial resources around for anybody to take advantage of. Right. So if the numbers are right, it could be your dentist, it could be your grandmama or your auntie or your hairdresser, all the people that like you eliminated, like asked the question in your mind and then answered it yourself, which is kind of like insanity. You're like, oh, I need money, but they don't got no money. So you never ask them. And you just assume that they don't have any. But your private lenders essentially can be any person. It doesn't have to be like this fictitious figure that you created that has to be this high person on this pedestal that most people envision. It's just normal, regular people that have money in their money market that's like lazy, earning 0.001%, or people who are dissatisfied with their return on their investments in like their 401ks, or maybe they have a self-directed IRA. They just have a retirement account that's not earning them anything. And their biggest concern is not having enough for their own future security. So private lenders are pretty much everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. We've had Chris Noggle, who's another client of mine, on the show before, and he wrote a whole book about like just how to find private money for that exact reason. So his first real estate deal came from borrowing, if I remember right, borrowing against his mother's 401k and the mortgage on her house. I think the second mortgage or something like that, which is what gave him the down payment for his very first real estate deal. And now he's, hundreds of doors later, well into his investing career. And yeah, people overlook those opportunities all the time. And does it take a high level of trust? And should you do your, some extra due diligence on the deal? Hell yes, you should. And that's probably the due diligence you should have done anyway. So it spurs you to make sure you're doing a better job. But let's jump in a little bit to some of the secret, overlooked, don't tell anyone else about this, hoard it all to yourself, secrets for finding motivated seller leads. And this comes from, you've actually got 21 of these that you give to your students. And we want to send people over your way so they can get into your world. But we're just going to cover a few of them because you've got a whole bunch of tricks up your sleeve. But let's start with one juicy, fun one. What's a good way to reach and find motivated seller lead?
Okay, now this one here is going to make you crack up. Are you guys ready?
Okay.
Other struggling investors.
Well, I can't imagine there being very many of those. So I'm sure that's a dead end.
Other
struggling investors. Okay. So, you have the late night infomercials. You also have, the YouTube University. You got the Facebook groupies, and you have all these new individuals that jump into the market, and they have some of the elements, but they don't quite have the entire story. They don't have the entire picture. But that doesn't stop them from jumping in and getting themselves into trouble. Okay. So they are definitely number one at the top of my list. They get into deals, they get into, contractual situations, and now they're over obligating themselves, and they really don't know how to structure the deal to make themselves profitable. So they end up in like advertising, hey, motivated this, I got a deal, I got a contract. Is there any cash buyers out there? You're like, dude, why are you looking for cash buyers if you have like this really great deal? So normally what I always do is like, I'm always in there like DM. I'm like, share with me, what is it that you're talking about? Like, what are you struggling with and why you can't close this? And they're like, and then they tell me the story, like the back history. And I'm like, oh, I got it. You bought it wrong. And let me show you how to fix it and save your ass. So they're like number one at the top of my list. So I love those because I get an opportunity to do what I love best, which is teach. Because I love to teach. I'm really passionate about it. And I love structuring deals as well too, and just giving insights on what other available structuring is available to actually close deals. So another one is people that are expecting a baby. I know that one's kind of really different, right? But I don't know. Out of you three gentlemen, how many are married? Are you married or no married? Or are you chilling?
Yep.
Got okay.
Gene
good.
is the only one that's a bona fide adult out of the three of us. I mean, come on now. Let's
I
just
think
call
he just
it like
called
it
me
is.
old nicely. I'm not sure though.
I didn't say old. I said adult. I said adult.
I have two kids. I have a wife and two kids.
That is phenomenal. Thank you for sharing. Those are beautiful. Oh my
God.
And those are three of my kids.
One of them is mine. One of them is our secret love file. So listen, when you have an expanding family, there is a huge demand for space. So if you had a couple that had a quaint residence, and now all of a sudden they're faced with the decision that we're going to have to put the baby in the top dresser drawer, then that becomes an issue. All right. And they're pressed for time because guess what? There's a time clock that's ticking where this other human being is going to come with themselves and all of their accessories. all of their accessories is going to come along with them. And that makes a crowded household, and it's pretty uncomfortable. And, wives normally are the ones that, make the decision on where people are, where the family is going to live. I'm just saying traditionally, right?
That's truth.
Yeah, that's truth, right? True. You go to this beautiful house and your wife's like, I don't like it. You were like, why? She was like, I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know.
You ain't moving there.
That's true. You may not understand it, but you're definitely still not moving there.
There you go.
But what we ain't gonna do is live here.
Right.
You be like, okay, on to the next. You don't even ask questions because
No.
a happy wife is a happy life.
That's
You
true.
Like, you turn to your agent and be like, she don't like it.
Yeah.
We gotta go. We gotta go right now.
Dude, that is such a true fact. I mean, that's not even funny how true that is. I mean, you women are so nice to us men because you guys let us have this like theory in our brains that we run the household. Mm-mm.
Wait, what? Hold on. What woman are you married to? That's not my wife. Makes
I'm
these
not married.
faces, and I know immediately. Like
Exactly.
she doesn't even have to say anything. Like I get these faces, and I'm like, oh, she doesn't like you. I could tell already. And it's my fault somehow, actually.
Because you introduced her to someone she doesn't like.
Probably, right?
Damned if you do.
You guys are so funny. All right. So the next one is bankruptcy. That's a pretty cool one. I like that one a lot because bankruptcy also is public records, right? So you can go to Pacers, I think pacers.gov or pacers.com. That's the federal bankruptcy website. Anyone can register because it's part of the Freedom of Information Act, and you can access this information. Now, you may not be able to see like everything, like the person's list of creditors and how many accounts that they put in there, but I'm sure it's available if you wanted to like actually access the file. And you don't have to be an attorney to actually have access to this information. But when people file bankruptcy, sometimes they have real property that are included in their bankruptcy, right? So they may include the mortgages that secures that real property, which ultimately means that there is some kind of financial distress, right? If someone's filing a Chapter 7 or 13 or something like that, perhaps, they are in need of income. They're in need of money, and you can offer them an
as Greg was so kind to demonstrate by showing his most recent mortgage notification. Thanks, Greg, for showing that up on the screen. Big red letters where it says
it's
past
not even
due.
It's not even a it's not even a game. Like for some people, that's for real. That's like their next 30-day notice right now. It's not a game. The next one is and this one is kind of cliche, but I take it with a grain of salt. It's like vacant houses, right? So if you have a vacant property, or any property owner has a vacant property, what are they not collecting?
Ash.
Rent, right?
Right.
They're not collecting any money. So every month that property is vacant, it becomes a deeper and deeper liability for them, right? So some people may argue, well, Jackie, that property is free and clear. This property owner doesn't have a mortgage, or it's not leverage or anything like that. Well, that's true. But guess what? Every property needs maintenance. Every property has utilities on it, or should. Every property has insurance, or should have insurance. And every property has real estate taxes, right? So there is a financial obligation with that property. And if there's neglect in that property, then of course, now that property owner is at risk for code enforcement or being delinquent in that communities or counties or cities ordinances. So they have to do some kind of monetary output in order to maintain that property. So that becomes a burden when you don't have any income coming in to offset those expenses. So never forsake the vacant house.
Yeah. Love it.
Would you guys agree?
Yeah, but you left one out. I'm not sure, and I'd love to know why you left one out.
I'm about to talk about the fifth one.
Oh,
What's that?
Oh no, I'm all right. I can't count. Never mind. I'm waiting. Never mind. Never mind.
That's all right. I mean, I got 21 of them, but we only going over 5 right now because we have a limited time space for the show.
Well, but I want to hear what Gene thinks it might be a good one, and then see Jackie just run up the 5 poll, Gene, and see if that's one of the other ones.
Estates, death.
Ooh, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. It is one of the 21. So I love probates, right? So that's an actual legal proceeding to settle the estate of a deceased individual that owned real property. It could either be intestate or out of state. Don't quote me, I'm not an attorney, but the person can either have died in the state or died outside of the state, but they own property in like another state, right? So there's a whole bunch of legal jargon, but those type of documents and the petition can be found in public records as well too. And more importantly, the beneficiaries and the heirs of those estates are great individuals to actually market to, because they're the ones that are like, bruh, Auntie Edna left me some money, but she left it to me in the form of this old, decrepit, beat up house that nobody wants.
Yep.
Right? So,
Yeah.
like, and it's a burden to me because now I, the heir, am racking up all of these code enforcement liens for a property that I don't want. Right.
Yep.
So they are absolutely motivated as well. That's definitely on the list of the 21. Thanks, Jean, for sharing.
I'm sorry I was wrong, but I'm also happy I was wrong because now I want to hear what 5 is.
Well, let's
So
take a
this-
second. Let's take
Yeah,
a
go
step
ahead.
back real quick because I think what for agents that are listening to this, they're going, okay, well, these are all great ways to find seller leads, but when I do come across them, it's going to take some creative problem solving to turn these into deals that I can do, or I have to know a little bit about the investment side enough to know who is the right person who can creatively solve these problems. So, Jackie, I do want to take a quick step back and just dig in a little bit into how did you learn enough about the creative problem solving part of it to go out and start seeking out these deals? And for those that don't, that haven't gotten started on that journey yet, what would you recommend that they start doing to kind of learn the creative problem solving side of it? Because that's really what makes this whole thing go.
Absolutely. Now that story is so unique and it actually is kind of funny. So
Lay it on us.
if y'all got time.
We got time. We'll come back and we'll give a few more tips at the end about motivated seller leads. But yeah, let's get into the story.
So here it goes. There I was at band camp, right? So whenever it starts that way, you know it's not going to be good.
I would say that it was going to be amazing. Well, so there was a band camp. You're like, oh God, get me a drink. Okay, yeah, tell me the story.
This is going to be a doozy. So there I was, 2006, all excited about real estate. I had watched like some infomercial and I was working in banking. I was an assistant branch manager at the time, I believe, for one of the largest financial institutions here in Central Florida. And I was watching my customers come in and make these huge deposits and wire transfers and all that cool stuff. So I was just enamored by it. And I was like, oh, I can do that too. They don't look that smart. I'm going to be able to do what they did. They don't look that smart. It should be easy. I mean, after all, I'm a banker, right? It only makes sense. I'm around money all the time. I'm literally physically around money all the time, right? I'm doing traditional financing, car loans, auto loans, credit cards. I'm underwriting loans. I got this. I know everything I need to know. Okay, so here's how this went down, guys. So I went to a new home builder because that's all I knew how. I didn't know anything about motivated sellers or marketing or nothing like that. So I just went to the most easiest low-hanging fruit because during that period of time, investors were putting down earnest money deposit at new home builders, like spec homes. And like just, 6 to 8 months later, that property would be finished and it would be complete brand new. And there will be this astronomical increase, right? In value of the property. And you immediately put it on the market and then flip it. And then you hold up your sign. I made $100,000, right? Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
So that did not happen. It didn't happen. I bought the wrong house at the wrong time in the market because the market was declining and I just did not have enough wisdom to know that that was a situation. And then the wrong strategy using the wrong financing. I had traditional financing on this property. So my first real estate deal in 2006, I lost $120,000 of real money. Yeah,
Ooh.
real money. First deal ever.
Oh, and you didn't, and you just kept going. You glutton for pain.
I call it my very, very sexy PhD in what not to do. It was so good. It was so good. It was a great learning experience. So after I licked my wounds and I realized like, maybe I should slow down and actually learn how to do something and figure out how other people were actually being successful. I decided that I needed a mentor. I needed somebody to like show me, right? So I ended up joining my local real estate investors association, and I did find my mentor there. And I love the whole idea of a real estate investors association because there's a wealth of resources that's available, and you have, local specific information. The only challenge that I had at that time was A, I was climbing out of $120,000 deficit, and B, I did not have money for a mentor. You know, I wasn't able to invest, although I saw the value. I knew I needed one because this was going to be the opportunity for somebody to like sit me down, kitchen table type of experience, step-by-step practical application of everything that I needed to know, like the inside out nuances of all of these no money down. Because Lord knows I did not have any more money at the time. So I needed to know how to get these creative deals done. Anyway, so one night, I know that was me. That was my house. That's exactly what it was. If I could have shoved it into the damn ocean, gentlemen, I would have, and just got the insurance claim and just been done with it. But that did not happen. The earth did not open and swallow this property. It stayed. And I had to pay for it. Anyway, so guess what? In the middle of the night, I saw an infomercial for the military. And it was like, be all you can be, you know, the Army song, you could be all you could be and all that stuff. You're like, well, wait, what this got to do with real estate? I'll tell you. Okay. So they were giving away a sign-on bonus if you could complete the training. Okay. And I thought
basic training?
No, well, at the time, I had, you know, I was already a professional. And yes, there's basic training and so on like that. But I joined to become an officer of the United States Army. Okay. That training was a lot more intense than I had bargained for. But it was 6 months long. And if I could finish successfully, I would get this amazing sign-on bonus for being an officer in the United States Army. So I thought to myself, okay, Miss Jackson, can't be this easy. All you got to do is take off the lipstick, the eyelashes, and you should be good. Everything should be good. You should be great. Okay. So I do that. I sign up, and it was the hardest thing that I have ever had to do. And I failed miserably multiple times, and they almost like sent me home. As a matter of fact, they wrote me up multiple times and says, hey, if you fail one more time, you will not be able to complete this training successfully. And the reason was I was a banker, I was a finance person, I was a real estate person, but here it is, they signed me up to be an engineer. And I was like, I don't even know how to like make a landing strip. I mean, you picture me trying to do the calculation so you can land your plane. Like, that's not going to work out. Don't trust me.
I feel very insecure already.
That was me in the middle. You see her face? She's crying. She's literally crying. And that was
this is terrible. We've given Greg way too many powers here. This is not good. This is not good.
His skill level is so important. First of all,
it's very bad. That and Greg and the combination of Google image search being immediate is not a good thing.
He's so on point. He's so savvy. Anyway, so 6 months later, I finished, and I successfully got the check for my bonus, and that is what I used to actually pay for my mentoring. And that's how I ended up learning all of these strategies. I know you guys were like, well, where is she going with this story? Yeah, so that's crazy. How it is. So today I am actually Captain Jackson. I'm still in the military as a reservist. Nice. Yeah, thank you. So like 10 years later, I'm still in it. And I'm Captain Jackson. I've traveled all around the world, and that's kind of like my part-time gig, I guess, you know, wearing combat boots, and then on the full time, I'm wearing stilettos and lipstick and eyelashes the other part of the day. And don't forget, like, the money clothes. People are like, exactly. I can't believe you're like in the military. And then I laugh. I'm like, well, what do people in the military look like? And they're like, not you. Just not you. Like, that's the last thing I thought that you would be like engaged with, you know? But I am. So I am a military professional as well too. But that's like my alter ego. I don't really talk about her that often, but she's there. So that's how I was able to actually acquire a mentor. And I had a mentor for a year-long program. So I'm a huge advocate in coaching and mentorship and apprenticeship program, like whatever you can get your hands on, because you need specified knowledge. You can't get all of this, consume all of the free stuff and expect that you're going to be successful. You're going to end up with $120,000 deficit like I did. Okay. Yeah. And that's a really tough lesson to learn. So wherever you got to find that, you know, that means to be able to invest in yourself, because most new people, what they believe is like they're invested in the other person. Why should I give this other person more money or exchange this value and give them more money when I'm the one that needs to make money? Well, damn it. That's the whole point. You're investing in you so that you can have a future return on your investment. So I'm a huge advocate for coaching and mentoring. So what are the types of stuff that I learned? Do you want to know what I learned, Matt? Or no,
Yeah,
you don't
absolutely.
Come on now. Or you don't care, like what it doesn't.
Yeah, don't hold back on us.
Okay, good. All right, we're moving on. All right. Yeah. So some of the amazing strategies were how to buy houses subject to the existing mortgage. Okay. Dope. That's like leaving the mortgage financing from the current owner and borrower in place. He's like,
Gene, do that again.
This huge banner. He's like, yeah, we're still here. Behind this huge billboard. Yeah. So yeah, we're still here. The next one is options, right? How to control property with option agreements without actually even like owning it. Isn't that super amazing? How to cash flow property without even owning it at all, changing nothing. That's amazing as well too. That's one of my favorites. Owner financing. I love buying houses on terms because the possibilities are infinite. You could pretty much create anything that you want. Let me tell you something. I have purchased properties where I have bought them subject to the existing mortgage, right? So I took over the property owner's mortgage payment. Then I owe them the difference, right? The difference in the equity. And I have said to them, I says, you know what, Mr. Seller, I have this money for you. How about if we put a second mortgage on your property, which subordinates your first mortgage at 0% interest for 120 days deferred while I renovate your property, and when the property sells, then I give you your money. And they'd be like, okay.
Okay.
And so I literally bought that house with like zero. I mean, goose egg, like zero. Just took it over. My only holding cost was the mortgage payment while I renovated that property, but everything was secured and it was amazing. So learning these techniques is absolutely phenomenal. Another technique that I absolutely love is purchasing tax deed properties, tax deed and tax liens. Ah, that's my favorite. That one right there makes my heart pitter-patter. Mm-hmm. That one makes my heart pitter-patter. I love that. And then another strategy that I absolutely love is not even purchasing the property at all, is actually purchasing the note that secures the property, which is non-performing notes or performing notes. And not a lot of people know about that one. You know, that's kind of like a hush-hush, secret sauce, secret squirrel type of strategy. And buying notes or being a note buyer is a way for you to control real estate, be the bank yourself, collect all of that interest on that note without actually having to purchase the property. But if you really want the property and the borrower is defaulted and they're not paying, then you can enforce your right to collect and therefore foreclose and take the property. And now you actually have the property. So it's pretty dope. So I learned a lot of really in-depth techniques. And that is what I practice today and implement today, as well as teach my mentees today as well too.
When you got going in the whole investment side, you know, what was that eye-opening moment when you're like, okay, so I done screwed up? You know, you found the mentor that you were going to, you know, learn from. You know, when you talk to them, and this is where I think a lot of people fall on their faces, is that they come up to someone, they like, Jackie, teach me how to do this. And you're like, okay, Matt, I'll sit down and I'll teach you. And so you sit down with Matt and he comes back 2 weeks later. He hasn't done shit with your knowledge. Now, would you sit and talk to him again? Or would you sit and talk to him again if he did go implement on the 2 or 3 little things you said to do? Because a lot of people just don't take action on knowledge. And that's the biggest problem.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. And it's not because they don't have a desire to. So I'm one of those people that I know that the goodness of human beings is present. All right. So I'm a pretty optimistic person. And I normally address with people what is actually holding them back. Like I beat them to that conversation before, because obviously there was something happening in their lives that led them to where they are and the conversation that we are currently having. Like, why are you even interested in real estate investing in the first place? Like I tell people straight up, I'm like, you don't want to do real estate investing. You don't. You don't. Stop lying to me. You saw it. It seemed cool. You heard somebody else's success story and you were like, damn, if I could make that kind of money, I could go and do X. Right. So
Mhm.
normally that's what the conversation is around, getting to their real motivation of why they want to do real estate or why they think that real estate investing is the vehicle to their vision and accomplishing their desires in their life. So for me, when I had this bright idea that I could actually be a real estate investor in 2006, it's because I was a single mom. I was working in corporate America and I wasn't happy with my job. And I was like, you know what? I think that I wanted more freedom. Like I was looking for opportunities to control how much income I could make. I was looking for cash flow. I was looking for some kind of security, right? I wanted to have a better life. I wanted to travel more. I didn't want to just have, 14-day vacations for the entire 365 days of the year. So I was highly motivated based on these personal aspects of my life, right? And I was thinking about my children's education. I was thinking about my retirement. I was thinking about all these things. Will I have enough money later down in the road? Like all of these different things. So that's really what was on my mind. And then real estate seemed like it was the answer that could fill the gap for those questions. So I normally ask people, what is their why? So when they fall short on implementing the strategies or the information that I share with them, I normally go back to their why. And I says, you know what, perhaps your why isn't strong enough. Perhaps you're lying to yourself, telling yourself that these things that you said was important to you are not as important to you as you say they are. Because if they were important to you, then by any means necessary, you would do whatever it takes to satisfy them. And that usually puts people in the hot seat and make them feel really, really uncomfortable with their life.
That'll do it.
That'll do it.
Well, I mean, with real estate investing, I mean, kind of like this image is showing. I mean, you got to start small and build. You don't just start at the very top and take over the world. You got to start with your first condo or first townhouse or first single family, and then kind of get a feel for it, and then move that into a duplex, triplex, quad, then step it up to commercial of 5 or more. Baby step in this thing all the way across, because you got to learn to run before you learn to run before you can walk. Wait, what?
Yep, that's right.
Yep. What?
That pretty much encapsulates my relationship with Greg right there. It's Greg trying to run before he can walk. But yes, the point is not lost. But that is true. I think that's where most people get tripped up. Is it's only worth it if they get to shortcut to the end, this and be the success story that inspired them, and they are unwilling to do the 10 years of hard work that it took up to that point that led to that success story. And they're not really willing to go that far, so they look at it, and once they get into it and they realize how much work it is, they kind of pull back and go, well, I thought about it, but really it's just not worth it. And that's exactly what it comes down to, is their why, their reason for getting into it wasn't big enough. So yeah, I mean, Jackie, you had a really, really big why for getting into that, not only for just getting into it, but then digging yourself out of that hole was probably really, really good, because it sharpens everything. It sharpens your focus, and it forces you to work really, really hard to dig out of that, versus if you just started and your first deal made you a few $1,000 and you think, well, this ain't so hard. I don't know what people are complaining about.
So true. And every time that I had to do a push-up or a sit-up or run or carry like a 70-pound backpack for like 12 miles, yes, that happened. That was like my last event. Oh, and did I tell you that it was at night in the woods? Oh yeah, that happened.
You
they just
skip
drop you off with like
Goodness.
this crazy compass and a red flashlight, because you're not supposed to have white light, because then your comrades may see you and cheat. Yeah, you're supposed to be like, stealthy in the woods, killer. So so here I am with my backpack in the in this military training with all of my essentials in it, and my tools that I need. I got my training, and this is really good. So yeah, they did train us, right? So I got my training. So now I have to implement my training or die, right? So
or die.
I'm in or die. Because I'm in the middle of the damn woods and I don't know where I'm at. So I got to find my coordinates and get up out of here. And guess what, guys? It was a timed event.
Oh, nice.
Oh, no way.
Oh, yeah. 12 miles from point A to point B. And it was a timed event. And you had 4 hours.
Hell no.
Goodness.
In 12 miles? That's
yes.
So you got all right. So average of 3 miles an hour in the woods with 75 pounds on your back. Like, yeah, 12 miles at 3 miles an hour is a pretty brisk stroll if you're next to the beach, let alone if you're carrying one of my fat kids on top of you.
All those obese little bastards.
That's right.
Whether you're carrying another human being on your back, right? So during those moments, there was a time, gentlemen, that I just got to this hill because yes, of course. Why wouldn't there be inclines? I mean, come on, let's spice it up a little bit. Yeah. And I'm at the foot of the hill, and I sat down at the bottom of the hill, and I looked up, and I just cried. And of course, people are like, oh, well, she's a girl or something like that, or she's female, so that's acceptable. But no, I cried not because I thought it was hard or because I was tired and just thinking about all of the crap that I had been through. I cried because I was thinking about my children. I was thinking about my kids. I was thinking about my future. And I was like, I will not let this hill beat me, period. And even if I don't make it or whatever, I don't even know what I was thinking, but I was like, I'm going to finish this thing. I'm going to finish and I'm going to cross this finish line because this is like my integrity. This is like a test of my internal fortitude and me challenging me on what I say that I want in my life, right? So I sat there, I sucked it up for a couple of seconds. I looked at that hill and then I just charged it. And I finished, gentlemen, at 3 hours and 58 minutes.
Did you really?
I really did.
Right under the wire.
Instructors were like, damn it, Lieutenant Jackson, we was trying to go home early. You the last damn one to stroll across this finish line. I graduated 67 out of 68 out of class of 68. I was not the smartest, gentlemen. I retook every exam twice, and I was the slowest when it came on to physical fitness because I was not even physically fit when I joined the military. I had to build up to it and actually pass towards the end. Like I told you, I failed consecutively until they were like, listen, you fail one more time around here and you're going to go back home. And I was like, I don't care what y'all say. I ain't going home. I ain't leaving this joint. we ride together. We finish together, because I got this bonus money that is I'm riding on right now, and that's all I could think about. So yeah, you really got to be convicted about what you want in your life, and it doesn't matter if you're licensed or unlicensed or what part of the journey you join at. You really just have to be really focused on what you want. Period.
It's true.
Yeah, that's it.
And the clarity, finding clarity in that is going to be your power. Because a lot of people walk around, they just like, I want blah. Do you want blah, or do you want the end result of that? I do the same thing with people in real estate. I'm like, why did you get in this bone crushing, meat grinding industry? I love homes. I'm like, oh fuck, you're gonna fail. Okay.
It's the wrong answer. You like you love homes? Well, shoot, just drive up and down this street. You can see a whole bunch of them. That don't mean you don't need to be
like you have cable, right?
Yeah, just continue watching HGTV or something. You be fine. So,
Matt, by the way, Julie was kind enough to send over a picture of your kids. Here's an update picture of Matt's kids.
Oh my word!
It took long enough. It's about time.
Right.
Beautiful.
Well, I've been working with them on bodybuilding. The working out isn't going well, but the eating of whey protein is going fantastically well, as you can see.
They are well loved. Well loved.
Oh my God, that is hilarious. Oh.
Gosh.
Oh my gosh.
You're gonna get private messages about
exactly. All right, so let's finish out with maybe one or two tips on finding motivated sellers. But before we do, Jackie, what's the best way for people to reach out and connect with you?
Oh, sweet. That's pretty easy. So I gave myself the title of the Jackie Jackson as if I'm the only one on the planet. So unique and empowered as I am, you can reach me on my website at Jackkie.com. You can schedule a free strategy session with me, and I still do that. I still answer my phone, and I still actually speak to people. I still speak to human beings because lo and behold, I actually am a human in a human being kind of industry, right?
So weird.
It's so weird. So weird. Who knew? Yeah. That's how they define me.
Okay, and then quick, let's go around the horn a little bit. So, Gene, what's the best way to connect with you?
Well, since we're doing the Jackie Jackson, let's do the Gene Volpe. So go to Instagram and follow me on the Gene Volpe and hit me up through the DM, yo. I love that. That's a great picture.
Gene scaring himself in photographs.
Matt, tell everybody what you said about that photo. I think it's great.
I said before we hopped on, Greg showed the same picture he's showing right now. And it looks like Gene surprised himself by taking his own picture. I don't know how that's possible, but that's exactly what it looks
keep
like.
it there. Ready?
Oh, God. Wait, come on. Pop around the edge.
This is fun.
You guys are so comical. Jeez.
Oh
we don't have fun at all on this show, as you can tell. No fun allowed.
That's right.
That's super duper cool.
Matt,
Yep.
where can people reach out to you?
Yeah.
Easy. They should go get the book, microfamousbook.com. I'll cover the cost of the book. If you pay for shipping, we'll get it into your hands and get it implemented. So yeah, that's the best way to reach out to me. Greg, what's the best way to reach out to you?
I don't have a cool image, but you guys can go over to the Real Estate Uncensored page, or you can go to my Facebook page, send me a DM. Most likely go to my Facebook page, send me a DM, or text me on my cell, 925-915-1978. We can talk about EXP. We can talk about kind of what we're building and kind of how we're growing, and it's really exciting things that are happening right now. If we just got a script or a technique you want to quickly chat about, just go ahead and DM, and I'll be happy to respond back to you. So that's how we do this, Matt.
All right.
Matt,
real quick,
Gene.
I got to intervene real quick.
Okay.
If you're watching any of Greg's recent videos, go back. Like 3 days ago, he did a video on Challenge to Lead. I think it was day 2. Where did you see this, Matt? Where it was his first day with a gimbal?
No.
Dude. He's got this new gimbal working for his phone, and he can't control it. So at one point during the thing flips upside down, and he's upside down. He's like, "Oh shit!" But he's fighting with the gimbal on the video. It's hilarious. Go back and watch.
All right, I might have to go back and watch that, and then spread that into about 20 different Facebook groups. Okay, so Jackie, let's finish out with this. What's maybe one or two of your favorite ways to reach motivated seller leads?
Oh, another one is through the tax deed auction. So prior to the tax deed auction itself, right? Every tax deed state, all of their counties, they have to do a file preparation. They have to go through due diligence because it's literally a foreclosure, and it's a foreclosure in REM, right? So it's like a streamlined foreclosure. Anyway. So during this due diligence process, they're constantly sending out notifications and posting notifications on the property physically itself to let the property owner know that, hey, if you don't pay your real estate taxes, then, hey, we're going to be forced to collect by foreclosing on your property, selling your property so that we can collect the taxes that we need for the county. And I absolutely love those leads because this date is barreling down on them. This is happening. And if you don't do something about it, you're gonna lose your property. I have purchased tax deeds at the auction with people still living in it. The property is actually still occupied.
Wow.
And it's one of those things where you're like, you got the notices. Why didn't you do something? The sheriff comes and puts a notification on the property, on the door, hang it in a tree or something. They literally put it on the property. You knew that this was coming. So why are you still here? You knew. So owners are pretty motivated. And that's a great asset or list to scour. And it's available on public records as well, available on every county in the United States. So there are 3,000, and fun fact, I love real estate trivia, all right? So 3,141 counties and county equivalents across the United States that make up the United States, the 50 states, right? So out of all of those opportunities, 3,141, I think that someone can find another motivated seller to talk to, you should be able to find somebody in 3,141 counties. It's a lot of people.
You better be
a lot
able
of ground. You should be able to. Yep. So that's one of my favorites as well too. And then another one is, military professionals as well too. Now you may not think about, you're like, oh, that's kind of, interesting as a military professional, but I'm not full-time, I'm part-time as a reservist. But military professionals, they're very transient. At least that's what I have recognized. And they move around a lot. Okay. So every 3-4 years, they got to skip town, run out like a thief in the night because they got another assignment on the other side of the world. And they are pressed for time. So they are a great, great asset as motivated sellers as well too, because they got to do something with their properties. And if they end up renting their property while they are on the opposite side of the world, or they had to take another assignment, I actually call those types of individuals in that category like landlords by default. Like they never intended to be real estate investors or never intended to cash flow the property. They bought it for their primary residence and they wanted to live there forever and ever. And then something happened in their life and now all of a sudden they have to move. And those are the great, great people who are like relocating in a quick, fast, and a hurry. So it doesn't always have to be like a financial distressful situation. But hey, if I got a new job that's paying me like 10 grand, 15 grand, 20 grand more than my other job, you think I'm motivated to keep this house? Bruh, I'm out. You give me $50 and I'm out. You hear me? I'm out. I'm like, I gotta go. I got $50 to collect across the street. Like I'm doing whatever it is that I gotta do to go and collect that money because it really is that serious, right? So my point here is people who are relocating are really at a place of urgency, and they are a great market to tap into, is that relocation market.
Man,
interesting.
I don't think she's taking a breath for 50 minutes. I love
it. And we only got to like 7 of the 21. Imagine if you actually got all the rest of them. Good Lord.
No, okay. That's some good stuff right there. And we have, if you guys can see it, Mr. Nick Sakis, he says he needs the Jackie Jackson money shirt show. And everyone's kind of loving it on it. We got Amy here. I love her. I need her energy and attitude also. So people are digging it. Nick Sakis again, forget the real estate. I need the energy pill, whatever she gives you. Maybe she can, or maybe just get back in the gym. Nick, everyone loves your energy. Everybody loves your energy, Jackie. That's awesome.
Well, thank you. Well, it's pure and it's authentic. And, I get really excited about my profession. I get really excited about talking about real estate because this is how I support my family. So my excitement about real estate is because I'm excited about my why. I'm excited about the contribution. I'm excited about the people that I love. And I'm excited about like sharing and helping and providing like great solutions. I normally tell everyone, gentlemen, that when I'm in a real estate transaction, I need a minimum of 6 to 7 wins in order for me to do the transaction. And I'm gonna tell you what I mean. Are you guys ready for it?
Mm-hmm.
I know, because normally you're like, people could by default think of seller, buyer, maybe the agent, right? And maybe the title company. That's already 4 people or 4 different entities that are possibly going to be profitable in this deal, right? So the buyer's going to get to buy, and they're going to be profitable because they inherited a property or got a property that they wanted to get, right? So they win. The seller gets to sell. They win because they get the cash that they wanted. If there's an agent involved, they win because they get some kind of commission or whatever it is that their split is going to be. Their broker gets a split, which is pretty cool too. That's 4. The title company gets a little piece of the transaction because they're the ones that's putting all the paperwork together. There's a processor normally involved. That person gets a little something too. Maybe there is a handyman or a remodeler or somebody that's in the midst of that transaction too, or some kind of contractor that's going to get a little piece of the pie as well too in preparing the property for sale. How much are we up to? 5 or 6? That was 6 or 5? Yeah. All right. I could go on. Here we go. More. So normally we have the materials that need to be bought for renovation of that property. So whether it's your Home Depots or your Lowe's or your local floor or tiling guy or paint guy or whoever it is that's supplying you with the materials, they're going to win. And think about it this way, gentlemen. Not only are those individuals going to win, but normally when individuals earn income, what are they using it for? They're using it for their families. They're using it for their lifestyles, right? So how many additional wins does that look like? That's your kids or their children and their families going on vacations. That's them, buying breakfast at the local amazing restaurant that you showed earlier that's giving away, free food to like hundreds of people today. That's them spending their money in their local neighborhood and creating opportunities. Another win is the county. Normally, we don't like talking about the government.
Sorry.
Well, that's all right. They're children sometimes too. But normally we don't like talking about the government. But it is a win for our government because now we have another property that is successfully contributing back into the community through its real estate taxes. And the real estate taxes do what for us, right? They pay for our school system. They pay for our emergency services, the firemen, the policemen. They keep the street lights on and the stop lights going. All of these wins with one house. Just one house, gentlemen. And you can have all of these wins. So when I sit down and do a deal, when I'm structuring it, I'm thinking about all of the impact. Because sometimes we just be thinking just really like linearly and we have our blinders on and we're like, I just need to do this deal and make like $5,000. Mm-hmm. But the truth is, it's more than just $5,000. It's lives at stake right now, even that one transaction, which is huge.
That is really good. That's actually a hell of a good way to bring this thing to an end with just mindset shifting, because stepping away from folks that, are instead of being, out there, well, they're just going to view me as a vulture of a real estate agent or a real estate investor, just trying to poach on all the people who are down on their luck. In reality, like, no, man, I'm helping build up the community. What are you talking about? Like I'm spreading money all over the place. Mm-hmm. You just kind of structuring it in your mind like that, I think would empower a lot of people to, take that first step, go ahead and go take a look at, the Jackie Jackson, your show, the Real Estate Cash Flow Expert, and kind of learn how to do this and learn that it's not a scam or weird, it is a real thing. I mean, that's just awesome.
Yeah.
I love
to
it.
Solve problems for real people. That's the key. Mm-hmm. Yep. I was actually funny because I was reading Jay Abraham's book, How to Get Everything You Can Out of All You've Got. And he talks about how he was speaking to a group of real estate agents and had to break their mindset and reset it around how much value they provided just by making that transaction happen. And it's so true because you get a whole bunch of even agents together and they lose sight of what they're doing for people when they're actually problem solving. And that's really the key. Okay. So Greg, shall we put wrap a nice little bow around this episode?
No, I think we should, Matt, and I think I'm going to influence your decision on this a little bit because we have got to do something, to really landmark Jackie's outfit. So
I know I was thinking the same thing. Well, it has to be a green bow for money. Green for cash. There we go. There we go.
Money
bow tie made out of $100 bill.
I love it. That will be on sale on Amazon tonight.
That is the bow
available in all sizes.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
All right, so let's put a bow.
Capitalist.
Oh man, this is way too much fun. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with us. Make sure you guys go take a look at Mr. Gene Volpe at GVI Media here. Without a doubt, you guys have got to go follow Miss Jackie Jackson on her show, The Real Estate Cash Flow Expert. And you got to also go pick up the Micro Famous book for Matt. He needs to feed these little guys. So please help with the production and sale of the book.
That's right. Come on, guys. I got to feed him. I mean, we're talking about I've got Tiger King levels of food expenses here. I gotta get this. Got to get some revenue in the door.
Oh my gosh! All right, guys.
Oh my gosh! Oh, you guys are in so much trouble. So much trouble. I see it now.
So, guys, also make sure you find your why for this show. Jackie found hers. I want you guys to go find yours. We love you to pieces. If you like the show, go follow us. Give us a 5-star review if you guys like what we've done. Follow Jackie. Follow our show. But until next time, peace out, ninjas. We're gone.